Okay, we're back. So, here's what I want to show you guys now. So, as we do the stretching, we've done everything progressive, right? So, these two exercises that follow can be kind of on their own, okay? In other words, what that means is you can do your own exercise out of them, or they're so important that they can be taken out. I incorporate them into the stretching because it's kind of like, sneaking medicine into the soup, right? You don't taste it, you just eat it, right? So this is the idea of both liquidity in the spine, okay, as well as rooting. All right, so I'm going to show you the spinal one first. This is called, depending on your school or where you're coming from, this is either like a spinal wave or a dragon exercise. Usually anything that references dragons in Chinese represents the spine. Okay, so the spine, I have lumbar segments right here. Okay, I have a thoracic spine right up here, and then I have a cervical spine right up here. And we always think of our spine in separate areas, right? Oh, my neck hurts, oh, my low back hurts, but it's all connected, okay, like a snake or a dragon. And that's where the imagery comes in. So when we work the spine, we tend to do it one at a time. Like we do these neck exercises, we'll do a low back bend, right? So it's rare that we can work the entire spine at once. And the nice thing about doing those exercises is that you start to feel more connected. You start to feel your spine as one unit, and you start to feel all those vertebrae stacked on top of one another, and you start to see how the motion works. So we went through one of these, okay, which was this guy, okay, and that's a twisting, right? That spine twists, and it comes back, and it twists, and it comes back, okay? So this one is from the front, okay? This one is more of a sweep like this, okay? Now this has a lot of Tai Chi principles involved in it, okay? So this is a lot of flow, this is a lot of spine, this is a lot of how things you'll see in the form, okay? So I start, just so I can get a sense of it, with my fingertips right over here. This is my iliac crest, okay? This is the very front of my hip bones. All right, and I'm going to do a little bit of a thrust forward, okay? Kind of like when we do our pelvic tilt exercise, okay? So again, when we do that pelvic tilt exercise, that butt comes in, okay? Those knees bend, and that entire pelvis tilts forward and down, okay? So that tailbone tucks under and down too, okay? This lumbar spine elongates as I come down, okay? But now instead of staying here, I want to kind of make a roll out of it. Okay, so I want to have that feeling of rotation. Okay, so what that looks like from the side. Okay, so there's that thrust forward. Okay, like I'm tilting that pelvis, but then I continue that roll. Okay, so I have that nice motion. Okay, so there's that thrusting forward, and you want to feel kind of like a roll. Okay. And it doesn't matter if it's stiff in the beginning, it probably will be, it certainly was for me, okay? But you want to just keep at it. And my knees sink. So if you look at my height here, I go down a little bit, and then I come up again. Okay, so again, that's part of that rotation. Those knees bend, okay, that weight tilts forward, and I just want to get used to this motion first, okay? I just want to get used to this idea of rolling, okay? The hips lead. The hips come forward, okay? That's the first part of the roll. And then that roll comes all the way up the spine, okay? Now, as I start getting a little more into it, okay, I start feeling that roll, okay? And as I come forward, this belly also pops out, and it comes up the spine and starts to curve me backwards. So what that looks like this is the front comes up, and you'll notice instinctively my shoulders start to come back, okay? My thoracic spine starts to come back, okay? And then it ends up around the head, okay? So in other words, it's a bit like this, all the way up to the top. Now the one thing I want to recommend to folks is when they start getting into it and they start really moving, okay, just like a whip, there's a tendency for the head to come back up like that, okay? So I come out like this, boom, the head snaps up. You don't want to do that. It's a great way to hurt your neck. Okay, so what I always do is I always keep that chin down at the end, so it's kind of a regulator. I can come in like this. As it comes up my head, I bring my chin back down so it rolls in. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, now I want to add the hands. Okay, so the hands are at my sides, and as that pelvis thrusts forward, okay, those hands come with it, almost like I'm bouncing the hands up. Okay, the hands come with it, and they rise. And then as that pelvis pulls back, as that low back pulls back, they retract. Okay, so it looks like this. Up and down. And up and down. So the hips push the arms forward. The hips bring the arms back down. Rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall. The more you can feel the fluid nature of this, the dragon essence of this, okay, the more you'll be able to get in touch with your spine, the more this will help with low back pain, and the more you'll start to understand that the waist creates all motion and that everything comes from the ground. Okay, so this is starting at the feet, rising up through the knees, transferring through the waist, expressing itself finally through the fingertips. Okay, so that's the first one. I'm going to be back with the what do you call it? I don't know what the hell it is. The whatever it is. Anyway, I'll see you in a little bit.